everybody, welcome back to the channel. I got something special for all you guitarists out there. I'm going to be reviewing guitar picks from all of the major brands. I've got guitar picks from Dunlop. I've got guitar picks from Fender, the classics. I've got guitar picks from Ernie Ball. I've got guitar picks from Diodario. And last but not least, I kind of ripped this, I have guitar picks from Tortex, which is also a part of Dunlop, but they're a lot different from other Dunlops that are out there. So we're just going to kind of go through it. I have a huge variety. I got variety packs from all of these different brands. So we're just going to try them all, see how I like them all, and then we'll talk about which ones are my favorite and kind of some thoughts that I have. All right, so here is the insane amount of picks I bought. By the way, when did picks get so dang expensive? I think to buy these like 5 packs was like $60. And I have like maybe 50 picks here. That's ridiculous. They're like $1 each. So we have all different thicknesses, shapes, sizes, types, picks for different styles of music. So I'm going to kind of try and go through all of those different styles and different picks, and we'll see kind of what my thoughts are. So we're going to go by brand. So I'm going to start with Dunlop. So Dunlop has a hugely wide variety of guitar picks. And I would say if there was one brand that I would go with for all picks, it would be Dunlop. This is easily my favorite. And we'll talk about which is my all-time favorite pick at the end of the video. I would say that this is kind of the most classic guitar pick shape. And it's this one. This kind of almost looks like a Fender pick, but it is a Jim Dunlop. It's pretty thick, has a little bit of flex, not a crazy amount. So let's see how this treats me. So this pick is a little bit too big for my preference. I usually just like to use the very tip of the pick. So when I do that, I have so much sticking out the other end. So it doesn't really make a ton of sense for me to use this large of a pick. I can totally see if you're like more of a strumming kind of person, why this pick might be appealing to you. But for me, and it's a little bit too thin, even though it's called the heavy, I think it still flexes too much for my liking. And it's a little bit on the thick side too. So we're gonna stick with these kind of more traditional size. So the next one up is gonna be the Tortex 3, and this is a 1.14. So here it looks like this. It's a nice color, pink. Come on, focus. There we go. Tortex 3, it says 1.14 right there on it. So let me play with this one a little bit. So it's the same thing, just too big for me. It's a little bit harder than the last one, but not super hard. So I'm gonna say next to that. And I feel like this is gonna be my opinion for most of these larger ones. So here is another Tortex. This one is 0.88 millimeters. It's a little bit softer. Probably better for more your like, you know, acoustic playing. So I would say for that, it is really nice. For your more jazzy stuff. Yeah, so it's just too big, too much sticking out. Again, I only use the very tip, so there's so much on the backside that sticks out for me. So that's gonna be my complaint with all of these larger ones. Here's another Jim Dunlop. This one is 0.96 millimeters. So what I'm gonna say is that if you are an acoustic player, you're more playing like those kind of chords, you probably want a thinner pick. So the one I was just playing, that was 0.88, and I think there's even some in here that I'm about to play that are even thinner. So this one is called the Max Grip, as I drop on the floor. It's called the Max Grip by Dunlop, and it is 1 millimeter thick exactly, but the compound it's made over, you see how much that flexes? It really flexes. So this one I think would be good for your acoustic playing. Yeah, it's nice. It kind of blends the strings together a little bit more, but if you try to do some lead lines, you know. I mean, you can make it work, but like, look, so that's how much is like sticking out. So you see how much is like sticking up in my hand. So that I wouldn't love. Here's another one, same size, extra thick. So this is 2 millimeters, doesn't flex at all. So this would be if you kind of like the thicker pick or the larger size pick. Yeah, so it's nice. This, I would say, is more my speed, more my style of pick. So then we get into another one. This is the Sharp. It's called the Sharp, and it is 1.5 millimeters thick. I was actually using this pick to play bass with, and it was really nice. It's a huge pick. And for bass, with that sharp tip, it actually got a really nice sound. Let's hear how it sounds on guitar, though. So I like this pick. This one I could actually see being a great like overall pick if you were a bass player and a guitar player. When I play bass, I usually use my fingers. I don't use a pick. But if you were a bass player that liked to use a pick and you like to kind of just have one pick to do it all, I would say this. It's nice and stiff. Doesn't flex at all. And it's got the sharpness of that tip makes it really easy to find, you know, what string you're on. And, you know, because I only hold it this far out, that's how much it would stick out. So it's still kind of the same thing. I don't know if you can see on the backside. There's a lot of pick that's just in my hand for no reason. But, you know, it works. Not too bad. All right. Okay. This one is a 0.88 millimeter. It's a Max Grip. It's a Nylon pick. And it's very flexy. You see how much I can bend that? Very flexy. So this is gonna be great for acoustic. Yeah, it really blends the strings together nice. But then if you try to play lead, you hear all those missed notes I'm getting? It's because the pick itself flexes too much. All right. And now we're getting into my territory. So to be full disclosure, I play with a Jazz 3. That's like my my pick. So there is the OG Jim Dunlop Jazz 3. They were the first ones to actually come out with it. And this red pick is very like OG, and you know, so it's great. It has like a little bit of flex to it, but very little flex. I would say it's the best overall pick. Yeah, so I would say if you've never tried a Jazz 3, you got to do yourself a favor and give it a try. It is great. For every style of playing, it is my go-to. Again, I only hold out like that much of the Jazz 3. As a matter of fact, my pointer finger almost matches the tip. And when I'm playing, my pointer finger kind of touches the string as I'm picking. But then if you see, there's like nothing extra. It's a small little pick, so it just perfectly fits in your hand. So that's great. Here's another Jim Dunlop Jazz 3. This one is the 1.4 millimeter. So this one's nice, white pick. I noticed some of these harder picks make a little bit more like string noise. So that's not bad. If you like the Jazz 3, but you like the larger pick, this is for you. So this is a Jazz 3, but it's an XL. All right, it is 1 millimeter thick, not very flexy, about the same as the red Jazz 3. I actually really like this. It's nice. Very nice. Very good Jazz 3. And then we're going to get to my personal pick. So this is the pick that I use. It is a Jazz 3. It's the Jim Dunlop Tortex Jazz 3. It is 1.14 millimeters thick. And this is the pick that I always have in my pocket. It's always riding around with me wherever I go. Basically doesn't flex at all. Like just like more or less no flex. It just sounds great. Very little string noise. It just feels like home to me. You know, it's a very personal preference thing, but for me, this pick just feels amazing. So that is going to conclude our Jim Dunlop segment. As you can see, they literally have every shape of pick, every thickness that you could possibly want. I would say if there's one company to pick, it would be Jim Dunlop. They are the best for everything. And then specifically, I like the Jazz 3. You know, I would say if you're new to Jazz 3s, get the OG, which is this red one. But, you know, try out some of the other ones. I really like this Tortex Jazz 3 that I use all the time. This one wasn't bad either, the white one, which is a very similar pick. And then the XL Jazz 3. If you're used to these kind of like XL, like say you come from like a Fender pick like this, I might try this XL Jazz 3. That was really nice. It's a good kind of midway pick. If you're used to the larger picks, but you want to try out a Jazz 3. It's basically like a Jazz 3, just bigger. So that's a great pick. I'd highly recommend that. And yeah, those are all great. So we're going to go ahead and move on. My next company we're going to try out is D'Addario. I have all of these D'Addario picks ready to go. So I feel like D'Addario in a lot of ways, you know, they're a string company and they're trying to kind of do everything, and in a lot of ways they're kind of copying, I would say, like Dunlop's homework and Fender's homework, and their picks are really very similar to Fender picks and Dunlop picks, but they have their own kind of little twist to them. So we're gonna start. We're gonna go biggest to small. So their first one, they call it the Classic. I don't know if you can see that. It is a 0.7 millimeter classic, like Fender shape, and it's that red tortoiseshell. So let's give it a shot. Honestly, not bad. You know, just a Fender pick, basically. Moving on, same size. This one is called the Cellulose. It's also a 0.7 millimeter. A little bit more flexy, different material. Probably better for acoustic. Yeah, so it's just too. What I will say is that the softer picks make it harder to play lead lines. So I definitely don't love that. Another large one. This one is called the Nylon Flex. It's a 0.75 millimeter, very flexy. You see how much that bends? And it's got this like stippled grip. Only on one side though, which is kind of odd. So anyways, let's try that out. So, same thing. Good for like acoustic stuff. Really blends the strings together, but not so great for lead. So moving on. Another big pick. It's a 0.7. This one's called the Dura-Grip. So it's got this kind of stippling on it to make it a little bit easier to grab. Still very flexy. Yeah, so same thing, just too flexy for my taste. Here we go. This is a Cortex. So they're trying to obviously rip off Tortex, which is the Jim Dunlop style. And this is called Cortex by D'Addario. It is a 0.7. It's like a kind of a clear pick. And what I will say is clear picks are gonna definitely disappear. What like these red picks, you can always find them. They you know, it's hard to lose a red pick. So it's kind of the same thing. It's a little bit less thick. Oh, and there's a manufacturer defect. There's like a little like bit left from the mold. So that's not great. All right, so now we're getting into D'Addario's attempt at some Jazz 3s. So here's a Nylon Pro 1.4 millimeter. It's a little bigger than a Jazz 3, but it's like the shape of it. So let's try that out. These grippy, super grippy texture. Ooh, it feels weird. I don't like this pick at all. It feels really weird in the hands because the grippy is like the grippy texture is only on the outside. Yeah, it doesn't sound good for like strumming acoustic, and it doesn't really play lead very well. So no on that one. This is another one. This is oh, it's the same thing. So just different color. Don't love that. This is called Black Ice. It's a 0.8 millimeter by D'Addario. This is very clearly trying to be a Jazz 3. It's about as hard as one. Yeah. My favorite D'Addario pick right here. So it's called the Black Ice. And the reason why it's my favorite is because it feels like a Jazz 3. So there you go. All right, last up, and in my opinion, least, is Fender. So let me get these picks together. So So I was only able to get the Fender Heavies. So this is like their classic, you know, Fender Heavy pick. They make some that are different sizes, or sorry, different thicknesses, and I only have their Heavies. So this is just your classic Fender pick. I mean, it's not bad. It's not the best. It's very classic. If somebody handed this to me, I could use it. I would use it. It's fine. It's just not my personal like favorite choice, but you know. So last up, I have Ernie Ball. These are called Prodigies, and they are 2 millimeters thick. They're white. They do not flex. They have a weird like beveling on the edges. It almost looks like the side of a table. I don't know if you can see that. Do you see the beveling right there? Very interesting. So anyways, let's give these a shot. So these are more or less a Jazz 3, but they're a little thicker than a Jazz 3, and yeah. I would say just get a Jazz 3. The Jazz 3 is what it is for a reason. So that concludes all the picks that I bought. So what I'm going to say is that I would say Jim Dunlop is the premier pick maker. If you're looking for picks, I would go for Dunlop. They make every shape, every thickness, every type for every style of playing. Like you could really find everything you need with Jim Dunlop's name on it. And specifically, what they're most famous for is the Jazz 3. And I know people either love them or hate them. I'm definitely in the love them camp. And I think that if you've never given it a try, or you hate it because of like some sort of stigma, really give it a try. Jazz 3s are amazing for a reason and popular for a reason. They're great, and there's a lot of different options within Jazz 3s. Like I'm just gonna grab all the Jazz 3s I have here on the table. I basically only have 4 different types of Jazz 3s. So these ones are called the highs. They have a very soft tip, which is really nice for jazz. It gives you a very dark tone. The OG Jazz 3, I would start with this. If you've never tried a Jazz 3, this is where I would start. This one, which is, I can't tell if there's any difference between these two. Yeah, I don't think there is. They're just different colors. So then basically this one, which is the one I use, this black one. It's 1.14 millimeters thick. It's a Tortex Dunlop Jazz 3. And yeah, this is the pick that I use. This is the pick that I love. So it's the one that I recommend. So yeah, that basically concludes my thoughts on all these picks. I still am blown away at how much picks cost. It's ridiculous. So in the end, what I'll say is it really does come down to personal preference. I would say if you're really interested in a style of music or maybe a particular player, figure out what they use and then go and try and use that. That's going to be my suggestion. Yeah, for me, if you like the way I play, you like the way I sound, I definitely prefer the Jazz 3s. That's my choice. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I got more gear review and guitar tips coming your way. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.